What's the weirdest thing you noticed growing up? My grandfather kept a locked drawer in his desk that no one was allowed to touch. Every time I visited, I'd stare at it wondering what was inside. He'd catch me looking and say it was just old people stuff. But something about the way his voice changed made me think it was bigger than that. When I was 12, I asked directly what was in there. He smiled and told me it was a secret, but maybe one day I'd find out. That made me even more curious. And every visit after that, my eyes would drift to that drawer like it was pulling me in. Years passed, and I was in college when he got sick. Cancer. The doctors gave him a few months. During one of my visits, he handed me a small brass key. He said when he was gone, the drawer was mine to open. I tried to give it back, saying he'd get better, but he just closed my fingers around it and smiled. After the funeral, I sat alone in his empty house staring at that key. The house was silent except for the old clock ticking in the hallway. My hand shook as I slid the key into the lock. Inside was a stack of letters tied with string, all addressed to a woman named Rose. But my grandmother's name was Mary. The letters were love letters, dozens of them, spanning over 40 years. But they weren't from my grandfather. They were in a woman's handwriting signed Forever Yours, Rose. The dates showed they continued right up until a few weeks before he died. As I read through them, I learned Rose was his first love from before the war. They had planned to get married, but something happened, and they never did. She moved to another state, and he married my grandmother instead, but they never stopped writing. In the last letter, Rose wrote that she was coming to see him one final time. There was a phone number at the bottom. My hands trembled as I dialed it, not sure what I'd say if someone answered. A woman's voice answered, older but warm. I told her who I was and about finding the letters. There was a long pause, and I heard her take a deep breath. "Would you like to meet for coffee?" she asked. I said yes without hesitation. The next day, I sat in a small cafe, nervously checking the door every time it opened. Then an elegant older woman walked in, her silver hair pulled back neatly. But when she got closer, my heart stopped. She had my eyes. Exactly my eyes. She sat down across from me and placed a photo on the table. It showed her holding a baby. "Your father," she said quietly. I stared at her, confused. My father was supposedly my grandfather's nephew, who he raised after my great-aunt died. "Your grandfather and I had a child together," she explained. "But it was 1952 and I wasn't married. He was engaged to Mary. We decided he would raise our son as his nephew." I felt dizzy as everything I thought I knew collapsed. My father wasn't my grandfather's nephew. He was his son, which meant my grandfather was actually my biological grandfather. And the woman sitting across from me was my grandmother. She reached across the table and took my hand. "He wanted to tell you so many times," she said, "but he was afraid it would change how you saw him." I tried to speak, but no words came out. I just sat there looking into her eyes, my eyes, while the cafe buzzed around us, completely unaware that my entire family history had just been rewritten in a single moment.